In every moment of time, we are transcending realities in a journey to a destination unknown, beyond the limits of human endeavor, far past our knowledge and science. Our destiny is awaiting us just over the horizon and into that undiscovered country that truly exists beyond the boundaries of all that we can imagine. There are things known and there are things unknown. And in between are the doors of perception. And the doorways of perception are now open. It's time for a paranormal point of view. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your humble host, Dennis Carroll. And welcome you to another, let me flip my lid here. Welcoming you to another episode of Paranormal Point of View. And this, of course, is episode 26. I'm going to get my hat hair down here. Okay. Episode 26 of Paranormal Point of View. Tonight, we're going to be covering the very interesting mystery of phantom felines, the large black cats that people say they see, and witch cats. Okay, we're going to definitely be covering a lot of ground tonight. Got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. I want to welcome everyone in the chat tonight. John Temperine, Aussie Sue, Shiro, John Fortman, the girl in her gong, Midwest Night Watchers, Urso, and Philip. Good to have you here, Philip. You need to come see me soon, Philip. I have something for you, sir. So you need to come see me soon, okay? And Annie Venom is here tonight. All right. And we've got Sharon Lame. We're fast approaching 800 subscribers. We like 10 more to get 800, okay? So let's hope we can add some more pretty soon and get it going here. And Lawana, got some great news for everybody. I'm going to wait to let a few more people gather in first before I hand it over. And tonight, I may have to put on my Dyson goggles. Yes, and go looking for demons. I don't know. You never know. Those Dyson goggles come in handy. Absolutely. And also, I've got something a little interesting for you that I'm going to be doing with you in a little while here. An Aztec death whistle. I'm going to let you all hear what that sounds like. It's interesting. This is a Aztec death whistle. That's what it looks like. And it has a very eerie, haunting sound. Some people say, let me get them straightened up a little bit here. Some people say it sounds like a human scream. We'll see what you think about it. Hello, John Fortman. Glad to have you here. Speaking of Mr. Fortman there, I want to share with you all a very fantastic piece of fan art that I received. This is me. Yeah. In all my glory. There you go. That's a fantastic piece. Very talented person who did this, and I want to thank you so much for that, Coco. Absolutely, it's fantastic. It will be going in a frame in the museum here, definitely in a place of honor. Okay, absolutely, I promise you that. I really appreciate that. Very thoughtful of you, absolutely. And you know, I appreciate all my supporters. You know, you have a place in my heart. Don't think you don't. Absolutely. And one of my fondest wishes is that one day we could all get together in person, but I know that's probably impossible, but that would be one of my fondest wishes. We could all sit down in person and have a cup of coffee and just talk the hours away. But hey, we've got this media and it's almost just as good, okay? Absolutely. Hello, Juno. Good to have you here, brother. Ida. And we got a lot of ground to cover tonight, folks. Okay, a whole lot of ground. First of all, we'll make an exciting announcement. I finally got my mailers, so I will be mailing all of the the jewelry out and all of the things that you donated for. I'll be doing the blessed necklaces, and we also have. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Hold on a minute. We also have some pictures, if I can get them up here to show you. Hold on a minute. I'm wiping myself out. Let me see if I can get you some of these photos up here. We have that available in keychains. We have that available in keychains. That one. We have lapel pins. And we have necklaces, folks. We've got necklaces. Necklaces. Okay. So, if you're interested, drop me a line and let me know what you think. Okay? All right. Good enough. And we have those available. Now, the necklaces, somebody asked me what the price list on that. The necklaces are $12. That includes the shipping, okay? The lapel pins are $5, and the keychains are $5, okay? And that's it. Total price on that. $5 for the pins and $5 for the keychains, okay? So let me know, and every item will have a blessing on it. It will absolutely be blessed, okay? And let me get my comments back up. And so we do have those still. Some of those are still available, so they're going fast. So you might want to think about getting one if you're going to get one, you might think about wanting to get that definitely before they run out. Okay, because I don't know if I'll ever be able to get any more. I can't promise that. That's for sure. Once these are gone, that may be it. Okay. But anyway, hello, Kyle. I think Kyle is still in here, and yeah, we've got a lot of ground to cover tonight. Definitely before we get to the Phantom Black Cats, and some other stuff. I think I'll go ahead and do the Aztec death whistle for you here, okay? And see what you think about that. I'm just interested to see what your thoughts are on that, okay? Let me hold on just a second. I'm getting a lot of messages while I'm doing this. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, this is the now I want you to think about this a moment, okay? You're out in the jungle, you and your men, you're fixing to attack some Aztec stronghold or whatever, and you hear several thousand of these things going off, okay? This has got to be a very eerie and very unsettling, very fearful thing for you to hear this thing, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and let you hear what it sounds like. Now listen very closely. A lot of people have described this as very eerie, very unsettling, and very much like a human scream, okay? Okay, so I'm going to shut up and let you hear this. This is the Aztec death whistle, okay? That would have to be very unsettling. It does sound, to me, it sounds like a scream. I don't know how that's coming in over, how that's coming in over the sound tonight. But anyway, that is an eerie sound, but that would have to freak you out if you heard thousands of them at one time or hundreds of them. That would definitely not be a good thing. Okay. But that is the death whistle. And when they blew those whistles, they believed that they were invoking the spirits of their ancestors to come and help them in battle. They believed that this was a spiritual call going out. The girl in the gong says it's a scream. Yes, it does sound like that to me. It sounds very much like a human scream, and not a good scream either. It sounds like they're screaming in pain or torture of some sort. That's the way it goes. My neighbor just did that sound back. Lord have mercy. You got some interesting neighbors then, Michelle. It sounds like someone raw was screaming with that scratchy quality. Yeah, it does. It is a very eerie sound. And I took this thing out when I first got it, and I was playing a little trick one Halloween night. Some of the people walking up and down the streets, and I was sitting back in the shadows with this thing, and I had to blow it a few times, and they were like, what the, is that? And it was kind of a funny experience, but I think I unsettled a few people around here. Okay, I like to keep them on their toes. They never know what I'm coming up with next. But anyway, that's the Aztec death whistle. And to me, it sounds very much, I think, very much like a human scream. Absolutely. Now, I hope none of you will go to sleep tonight and dream about Aztec death whistles blowing in your ear. Okay. But anyway, getting back to what we were doing. Let me see if my screen will rotate for me again here. I got you all on another screen here, so I can keep track. This helps me keep track of the stuff better, and I can also do the brand things. And what we've got to talk about tonight is coming up very shortly. This fellow right here. Take a look at that, folks. Let's say you're walking out in your yard one day and you run into this fella. That would not be a very good experience. Absolutely not. And actually, I have seen evidence of these. Now, all park rangers and forestry officials will say this animal that you're looking at does not exist. Okay? But that's not true. Absolutely not true. He does exist. He is real, and he is out there stalking in the darkness right now tonight. I believe that without a doubt. But what is his origin? Okay. Now let me tell you a quick story about my experience with the large black cats. I call them the phantom cats because they act very much like ghost cats in that respect. I had a hunter, this has been some years back. I had a hunter who came to me. He was a very reliable fellow. I mean, he was very practical, straightforward. He didn't seem like the kind that would make something up like this, And I found out he was telling the truth. And that is the fact that he said that he saw one of these black panthers from a deer stand in the trees. And he told me about it, told me where the location was. Well, of course, me being me, I had to go check it out. Okay. So I went there to the location, and what it was a very large field of broom straw. And of course, I think most of you understand what broom straw is. And this was a large field of broom straw that went into a big, large section of the forest, of the woods. And I parked there and went into this field. And what he said, he saw this thing out in the field. Okay, that's where he said he saw it, from a tree stand in the woods. And he said he saw it 2 or 3 times, but most of all because this broom straw was pretty high. It was up to me. I'm 6'4", and the broom straw came way up over my knees. I mean, almost up to my hips. Okay, that's how tall this broom straw was. And Michelle says South America has a Jaguar team. I'm going to talk about the Jaguar people in a few minutes, Michelle. Absolutely. And which is why I brought the Aztec whistle. But anyway, they have the Jaguars. Jaguars were once prevalent. I don't know if you people know this or not, but Jaguars once were all over the United States, most all over the United States. They slowly went south, eventually ended up in South America. They say to this day, and that's why I brought that up, that there are still pockets of these Jaguars around, and some of them are supposedly black. Solid black Jaguars. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. But let me get back to my story. So anyway, I parked on the side of the road and walked out into this field. And I'm going to tell you something very interesting. And it wasn't me. I'm not one that spooks very easily. You know me. If you know me well, you know I do not spook. Fear and I parted companies long, long ago. Okay? Long ago. Um, but as soon as I hit this field, and it was daylight now, it wasn't dark. As soon as I hit this field, I got the feeling of something watching me. Okay? And I became very uncomfortable because I could not see what was in this field because it was full of this high broom straw, you know. And so I kept walking, and sure enough, I found prints. Unfortunately, they weren't deep enough because the ground was very hard in this field. They weren't deep enough to cast. I wish I could have went back and cast some of them. But anyway, there was a line of prints through this, and honest to God, they were not dog prints. They were not bear prints. These were cat prints. This big. I'm talking about big cat prints. As far as I know, there are no cats around. Even bobcats do not have prints that big. Okay? They were bigger than a German Shepherd. It was big. It was a big print. Okay. And I'm going, oh, this is not good, you know, because I could tell it was a cat. Let me say this about cats, the big cats and all that. When they walk, they retract their claws. Okay. That's how you know what you're looking at is a cat print. Then they're kind of around, their toes are rounder. They have a very distinct thing. I knew exactly. I mean, I have trained myself to track in animal tracks for many, many years. And I know all the things that they do, how they look when they're running, how they step inside of their own tracks, et cetera, et cetera. These were definitely 100% cat prints, folks. Okay. And I'm sitting there thinking, if something is that big and it's out here in this field with me, it might be time to retreat. Because I don't like to be put myself. I'm the guy in the room. Okay. Let me tell you this about myself. I am the guy in the room that always sits with his back to the wall. That's just me, okay? And like my friend Jessica, she was talking the other night when we did her show. She said she doesn't like to stay around her doors and windows open, especially at night. Neither do I. I just don't do that. Okay, everything has to be closed up at night. I do not like to ever put myself at a disadvantage. Okay. And I would advise you to do the same thing, my friends. Okay. Never put yourself. Oh, yeah, I was armed. I'll always go out armed. But still, I had a very bad feeling about this. Kind of some bad juju on this. Because I think this thing was out there and I think it was watching me. And here's the thing about big cats. And I have run into cougar. I ran into a cougar one time years ago. We made eye contact. And, that's not a good thing because these things are territorial animals. And as soon as you enter their territory, and their territory can be big, can be huge, they begin to stalk you. Absolutely. And just like this cougar I ran in, I was in the woods one time, it's been many years ago, and he and I ran up on each other. Okay. And I mean, I was very close. And we were looking eye to eye, and I'm going, okay, what do I do next, kind of a thing. Luckily, he didn't want to mess with me, and I certainly didn't want to mess with him. So we parted company. Okay. He went his way, he slowly went his way, I went my way, which was very lucky. Most of the time, they don't do that. I had a gun with me. I didn't want to kill something like that, really. I really wouldn't want to do that, okay? If I ever run up on Bigfoot, folks, I'm not the guy that's going to shoot him, okay? That's just me. I'm not going to shoot him, okay? I'm not going to shoot Dogman if I can help it. I mean, that's just the way I am. I don't want to do that unless I absolutely 100% necessarily have to do it. You understand? But that's the thing it was with this black cat. And I know that thing was out there, okay? And so I said, hey, maybe the better part of valor is just to leave because I was at a very great disadvantage in that field of broomstraw. LaWanda says there's a solid black cat the size of a bobcat with no tail in southeast Oklahoma. Years ago, I walked down on my back porch and just a tinge and met one face to face. I literally screamed like, what? It can be unsettling, definitely. They'll jump on you out of a tree. Oh yeah, that's what If you're ever and I went on into the woods that day though. I said I'm getting out of this field. I'd rather be in the woods. So I walked on into the woods. As a matter of fact, I found this tree stand. It was still there. And but this was private property, and I didn't really want to break the law and stay there very long. Okay, I just wanted a quick look around thing, and I found his stand. I see where he's standing. I could see his advantage of looking into the field. It would have been on his right, looking out into that field. Um, Anyway, I got creepy feeling that thing was still watching me, even in the woods, and I kept looking up in the trees to make sure it wasn't death from above kind of thing. Okay, but when you deal with large black cats, you are dealing with a true predator, a apex predator. He is the shark on land compared to what the shark is in water. This thing will get you, Betty, real quick. I'd rather walk up on a bear in some ways than I had, not a female bear, of course, with cubs. I would not want to do that. But I have actually met bears face to face. I have walked up on bears. I'd rather walk up on them. I'd rather deal with them than a cougar. Okay, definitely. But this was a big cat, whatever it was. So I was going to go back a few days later and try to cast those tracks because I didn't have the stuff with me at that time. But it unfortunately rained very hard the next day, and I'm sure it obliterated whatever was out there. I haven't slept at night not being fully dressed except usually over 20 some odd years. Yeah, well, you never know when you got to make an exit in a hurry or something. Yep, yep. So there's there's Black Panthers here. That's what I saw. Absolutely, Kyle. They are out there, but they'll tell you, oh no, there's no such thing as that. They don't know what they're talking about. Because I know without a doubt they are. But what is the origin? Have you ever wondered? And we talk about the Jaguars now. It's a possibility there could be pockets left of these Jaguars, especially in the southern United States. Okay, that's a possibility. I don't think they're in the northern part, like where Illinois and Michigan, places like that. But it's a possibility there may be a few remaining in the south. I would give it that, definitely. But let's take a look at the big picture a minute. These big black cats are reported all over the world. I have friends in the UK who swear to have seen these things. What's going on? They don't have big cat populations. The only explanation might possibly be someone's pet, and some people do have pets. Not far from where I sit tonight. I didn't know this, but a guy owned a full-grown African lion, and that thing got out one night. And it's not far from my neighborhood. That thing got out. Luckily, he caught it and got it back. Where you never know what some things people own. Okay, that's another possibility. I believe the beast of Gordon may have been somebody's pet hyena or something like that they turned loose. I go along with my friend Gerhardt. Ken Gerhardt believed that, and I believe that as well. Did an excellent documentary on the beast of Gordon, by the way. It's interesting. We'll check it out sometime if you ever get a chance. But anyway, there are other explanations for some of this stuff, like maybe a circus, something gets out of a circus or a zoo or whatever. But that is very rare, okay, folks? Very, very rare. There got to be some other explanations. What do you think is the reason you think for covering up big? I'm going to tell you what, a lot of these places, and I've got into it with the Rangers before, okay? I have gone to historical sites and try to find out paranormal stuff from the Rangers, and they will not tell you anything. They shut up, take a lock, man. That's it. They say, hey, we're not allowed to talk about that. They will tell you that real quick. We are not allowed to talk. I could get in trouble if I do that. And I don't blame them. That's their job on the line. That's their livelihood. And I definitely wouldn't want to endanger their jobs and cause them in trouble like that. So I usually shut up and leave them alone. But I understand where they're coming from. Their superiors do not, for one point, do not believe in any of this stuff anyway. Okay, they take the more scientific, closed-minded approach. Okay, and that's just the way these people see life in the whole world and their jobs and everything around them. And they have no room for anything like that. Okay, and to me, that's bad. Okay, I tell you, there's one thing. If there's one thing you can accuse this old boy of, I am an open-minded person. Okay, that's my favorite quote. Here's my quote. Okay, I believe in the possibility of the impossible because I believe in the possibility of possibilities. I have seen the impossible, folks. I know it's real. I know it exists. And to me, all the cards are on the table. You play them that way, okay? But some of these folks do not believe that. And they have their own point of view, and they have been ordered by their superiors. You know, everybody's got your pecking order from all the way from the very top to the bottom. From the very top echelon of the government, these things have been quieted, covered up, and pushed down, and covered up big time, okay? That's the way the government works. That's the way it goes. Okay, they don't want to scare people off and have people looking for them. Oh yeah, there's some other excuses that go along with that, but their main thing is that's their focus. Their number one focus. They're not gonna move out of their doctrine. Okay, that's just the way they go. And so, but now talking about the Jaguar, I want to mention the Jaguar people of the Aztecs. Okay, there were Aztec warriors that were called the Jaguar warriors. They were the Jaguar men. They actually wore the skins of jaguars. They actually had weapons that were the claws of jaguars. They believe, very much like the Viking berserkers, they believed they became those animals. That's just the way they fought. They were horrific. They would kill people without a whim. I mean, they were something else. The Jaguar people, the Jaguar men, they believed, and some to this day believe that some of the magic actually turned these people into jaguars. Okay, and you have the same thing. Here's the weird thing about it. You have the same thing going on in Africa with the lions. You have lion men in Africa. And in India, you have the tiger men. It's very strange, but every culture seems to be trying to deal in shapeshifting. Now, I'm going to do a show one night on shapeshifting. We're not going to talk too much about that tonight, but it is fascinating. But let me just say this about shapeshifting, okay? Let me say this. If, hello, Crystal. You're late, dear. But that's okay. I won't dock you any pay, okay? But anyway, the thing you can say about shapeshifting, it's not a good thing to do that, folks. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. It is a very dark thing, and it can warp and twist your soul into the darkness. Okay, wrap your soul up with darkness, and you don't want to do that. It is a power that you really don't want to mess with. Okay, and I'm not gonna get too deep into that tonight, but that's just the way that ball bounces. Okay. Well, let me say this, and I've had people talk to me about this before. I've had people say, what's the big difference between the Dogman and the Werewolf? Okay, talking about that. Here's the interesting thing. If I had two attacks, if I had two sites where there had been attacks, and one side was a Dogman and one side was a Werewolf, I could tell you immediately which one was which. Okay, because the Dogman, when he attacks, usually just tears the throat out, maybe mauls you a little bit. Okay. He does a good job on you, kills you, but I'm just saying that's the way it works. The werewolf, on the other hand, a true werewolf would tear you into pieces. It's not just a kill. It is a psychological ramification that is so bad that when the good evening, Cryptid Hunters, glad to have you here, dear. It is a ramification of death so bad that it is so psychotic in the way it is done. A werewolf will just leave you in pieces. It disseminates you. But the Dogman, on the other hand, wouldn't do that. Okay, a Dogman, on the other hand, would not do as bad as that. Okay, and that's how I would know the difference. If I came up on a werewolf kill or a Dogman kill, I would know exactly probably which one was which, without doubt. That's the way that goes. Okay. But now look at these big black cats that we're talking about, and there has been reports of these things attacking people from time to time. But most of the time, You don't hear about it. They are just spotted. But what is their true origin? Barring the fact that they are somebody's pet that got loose, a circus that lost, or a zoo that lost one, whatever. And like I say, that is extremely rare. What is the origin of this? Why are people in the UK and Scotland, Ireland seeing these things? And that's not just there; it's all over the world. They report of these big phantom black cats. I believe, and Jessica and I had a show about this not long ago. I believe these things may be the ramification of conjured cryptids. Now, let me talk about this a minute. In dark witchcraft, like I said earlier about the shapeshifting, when you obtain that power, just like the power of the skinwalker, you can take on different animals, different type realities, okay? And one of those can definitely be a big black cat. We do know that witch cats, and I'm going to talk about those in a few minutes, are also part of not only supposedly the familiar spirits of witches, but also witches supposedly are able to turn into black cats and turn people into black cats. As a bad spell on someone, they turn you into a black cat. What if one day, they decide to make you disappear, and you never really disappeared. You're just existing in a form now that is not what you once were. Maybe some people get missing that way. We don't know. But there are certain spells in witchcraft, dark witchcraft, and the dark arts, hexes that can change you into a rat or a bird or a cat or a dog. Not just themselves, they can change you as well. Think about that a moment. That's freaky. All right, absolutely. Hello, Moon. Good to have you here. That's freaky stuff. But I believe some of these cryptids that we're dealing with definitely have been conjured up by this dark magic. And one of the hocus pocus said a boy turned into a cat. That's right, John. One of the interesting things about this conjuring is it may not stop with just cats. It may go on with Dogman. It may go on even with Bigfoot, for all we know. There may be a lot of these cryptids out there that have been conjured this way. That's a possibility that you got to look at. Absolutely. And hello, Ann. And the thing about it is, the big black cats, the large black cats, leopards, whatever name, jaguars, whatever they may be, could be part of witchcraft that's conjured up. They could actually be the form that a witch is taking, or they could be something that a witch has brought forward by conjuring it, brought forward into our reality through and we can only call them, as Jessica and I have talked about before in her shows, these portals that they can open up, these portals that they open up and bring these things through. Absolutely. That's a possibility. That's how you bring one thing from one reality into another. Let me say this, and I'm not going to get into that tonight, but I have seen things transcending from one reality to another, and I believe that's the way they do it, through portals of time and space. I'm not going to get into that deep tonight, but that's something for another night. But that could be what these big black cats are definitely up to. Okay? Now let's look at the other side of the picture. I mean, how would you like to meet that on your back doorstep one night? It would not definitely be good. Now that is a supposedly a black leopard. Okay, I was going to mention that while I had it up. But now let's look at this guy, the witch cat. Okay, that is a very stylized, kind of a nice drawing of one. But the real witch cats are not what. That's not the real witch cat that we're talking about. Although they can be seen here. Here's one with his mother. Look at those red eyes. That is not good, folks. Mm-mm. And of course, here's another one. Okay. You got to have your familiar spirit if you're a witch. Definitely. That's part of being a witch. Okay. Absolutely. Familiar spirit. And this is even a biblical thing. Moses commanded that no one should live who has a familiar spirit. Now, of course, the familiar spirit is a demon. It is a devil, an imp, or whatever name you want to give it. And it takes the form of a black cat. Okay? Now, that's why I'm saying you've got some kind of a supernatural connection, I think, going on with these phantom cats, these phantom felines out there. You've got some kind of connection going on. Absolutely. I believe that without a doubt. And I believe that if that is why some of this stuff is going on. And so be very careful. I had a black cat too. I love black cats. They're very beautiful and very mysterious. But some cats are not what they appear to be, my friends. Okay, and the witch cats are one of them. They may not be really cats at all. You understand? They are demons in cat form, and that's what you have to be very careful with you doing. Let me tell you a quick story. Some of you may have heard this before, but I'll tell you it's a family story, and it happened to my mother and father many years ago, before I was born. My older brother was a baby. He was just a little tiny baby. My mother and father were living in a duplex. That's a split apartment, They had an apartment on one side, and on the other side, this old lady lived there. And everyone said this old lady was a witch. Okay. And they said that people went in to see her, and they'd be all crippled and gnarled up, and they would come out walking straight and being all right. They sort of like she was like healing them, supposedly, too. But I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, she was supposed to be a witch, and everybody was afraid of her. Well, make a long story short, my mother's brother, who was just a boy then, he might have been about like 10, 12 years old, he stayed in the house with my brother, who was a little baby. My mother and father were outside talking to somebody out in the yard, front porch or wherever it was at. And in a few minutes, my uncle, who was just a little boy, he was about 10 years old, he come running out to my mama, and he looked like he'd seen a ghost. I mean, he was scared to death. He was very scared. And my mama thought there was something wrong with my brother, who was the baby, She said, "There's something wrong with the baby." He said, he couldn't get the words out. He was so scared. He said, "Cat, cat, cat," And so my mama went back in the house to check on the baby, and the baby was okay. My brother was all right. But she finally got my uncle calmed down, and he said that while he was in there with the baby, the door between the apartments, where the woman lived, slowly opened. And he said the biggest black cat, and he talked like this cat was very large, okay? He said the biggest black cat he had ever seen in his life walked out of that door and went into the kitchen area of my mother and father's apartment. Well, my mother looked all in the apartment, and there was nothing there. She checked that door, and it was locked. It always stayed locked. That was a very strange experience. It scared him to death. He swore to the day he died that he saw a witch cat. Okay. Now, whether it was her in cat form or her familiar, which is what I think it may have been, that's what happened. Very interesting incident. So a lot of these things, a lot of people have reported these things over the years. Now, of course, if you've ever read a lot on the interesting aspects of the Salem witchcraft trials, and I'm one of those people that says it was all a bunch of bunk. It was just a way to steal people's property and get rid of people they wanted to get rid of. I don't think there was very much real witchcraft involved. But the reason I mentioned that, it was very, which uncle was that? It was my Uncle Kurt, actually. Anyway, he's gone now. He's passed on. But I'll talk to him about it. He still to the day he died. He said, yeah, it really happened. It scared him to death. Said he'd never seen anything like it before in his life. It was a huge black cat. It wasn't just a regular little house cat. Okay. But anyway, the interesting thing about that is the accurate description of witches familiars. But in the Salem witchcraft trials, they talked about witches familiars, and the most popular one was a pig. Okay. Why, I don't know. But if any of you have ever seen the movie The Witch, which is out recently, one of the familiars in it was a black goat named Black Phillip, by the way. And he was a very kind of evil looking goat to me in that movie. Of course, he was supposed to be that way. But anyway, animals can supposedly. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You've got two kinds of familiars. You've got the demon actually taking the form of that animal, or you have a demon supposedly possessing that animal. Those can be two types of supposed witches cats there. Okay. But so, what do you all think about that? You think that this may be some kind of conjured cryptid? Do you think that there is a reason for that? Andy Venom says, I've been dealing with the business. My brother's death. He was a Freemason. He hated me. I was trying to stay in his room. The door kept locking and locking me out. I moved downstairs. Maybe that's a sign. It might be a good idea to vacate that. Definitely. That area. If you hated you might not be good. Malevolent spirits can cause a lot of problems sometimes. Pigs were demon catchers too. Oh yeah, well of course they had a very famous role, John, of all of them possessed by demons when Jesus sent them into the swine herd and they all killed themselves. That's how they got that reputation. You know what though? The interesting thing about get my comments going here. There we go. The interesting thing about pigs, they are very close to human in their anatomy in some ways. They have the same kind of vein system. They have hearts like us a little bit and all that. They're very similar to people in a way, in some ways, which is maybe why Jewish people avoid eating them. Maybe one reason, because they are commanded not to do so. Freemasons hate everyone. He has nowhere to go. I don't know about all Freemasons hating everyone, but it's not good when somebody hatred is. I thought we had a great time on the by the way the seminar the other night, and I appreciate my friend Jessica helping me advertise for that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much, and it was a big success. Had a lot of feedback from it. And of course, I got hit spiritually after that, but I was expecting that. And I'm not going to go into that tonight. But anyway, it was a big success. I think we got somewhere with that, definitely. But, what I was saying, you got to understand in this universe, there is a spiritual side to a lot of things. And once you understand that and take that into prospect, it makes a lot of other things more knowledgeable for you. Pigs are such close relatives to humans. No wonder they get treated like scapegoats. We put our uncleanness off into a lesser cousin. Men put their uncleanness off into women the same way. I'm afraid some ignorant men do that. Yes, they do. But you got a lot of ignorant people out there. Some of them are just plain stupid. What did I say? Ignorance has an excuse. Stupidity has no excuse. And the way some of these stupid men treat their beautiful women is ridiculous. But I won't get into that tonight. But anyway, they're stupid. I'm sorry, gals. I take up with you. I agree with you. They're real stupid. They're just not playing with a full deck. Absolutely. But anyway, let's see what else you got to say here. Okay, but anyway, it was the seminar was a big success. I may have another one pretty soon. We'll see what we come up with next time. I've been asked to do another seminar on fighting the darkness. Some things to do to safeguard yourself against that. We may look at doing that in the future. Now, next Monday night with my good friend Gerald Fountain, next Monday night at 9 o'clock, will be the road less traveled. We're going to be doing one of my favorite subjects, the Comte Saint Germain. Is he a vampire? Has he found the immortal elixir of life? Who is this guy? We're going to talk about him, definitely. He's one of my favorite subjects. I think he's still out there walking around, okay? I got some interesting stuff to share with you about him. But yes, please hit that thumbs up on tonight's show. Thumbs up and like us. And we have membership now. All you gotta do is hit the join button if you want to become a actual authentic shadow hunter. Okay, we've got 2 levels on that, whichever one you're gonna go. And I got some good news too about all of the stuff I'm gonna be sending it out in the mail this week. So be looking for your packages. I finally got my mailers, so I can mail everything out to everybody. Okay, so I'm gonna be doing that this week. I'm gonna be a busy beaver this week. Okay, and I'm gonna be doing that. Yes, they would bark in his room constantly. He has a guitar and a banjo player. I can hear the banjo making noises. Oh, really? That's not good. You might want to cleanse that area. You might want to think about a spiritual cleansing there, Anti Venom. There's a lot of cats around my neighborhood born and grew up here. The old man next door raised them after their mother left. He passed away. Now I feed them. Black ones seem to want to talk back. It's not just black cats. Any kind of cat can be a witch's familiar, okay? It doesn't have to be just a black cat. It can be a calico cats. It can be a Siamese cat. Remember in that movie, Bell, Book and Candle? Pyewacket, the witch's cat, he was a Siamese cat, by the way, okay? So they don't have to be black cats. But anyway. Hello, Roger. How you doing, Roger? I was supposed to go today for my birthday. I'll be over this weekend. Okay, Crystal, I'll be looking for you. And we'll get you set up. And anyway, the interesting thing about the witches' cats, and they do ride around on the brooms with them, supposedly. I don't know about that, but anyway, I used to have a black cat, and I would tell him, especially around Halloween, don't go riding with the witches, okay? It'll just be bad trouble for you, and you never know about them. They get up to some weird stuff. That's my favorite cat, Siamese cats. And I like Siamese. She had beautiful eyes. Australia living. I got cats all over the place. I go out. I don't know where all these cats come from. Ghost is still out there hanging around. I saw him a few minutes ago. He's out there. But I don't know where all these cats come from. But, I had that strange experience. I remember that very well. When I was a little boy, that happened. I told some of you about that, about what happened when my grandmother died. And all the cats in the neighborhood just showed up that night. They were all over that house outside. They didn't let them in. I don't know what they would have done if they got in. But anyway, my grandmother's corpse was in that house. I mean, she was, back in the day, they used to have what they call laid a corpse in a house. Actually, the funeral took place in the house. And they didn't go to the funeral home. And my grandmother was there. And matter of fact, she's the last person I can think of that actually came back home in the corpse fashion that way. All the rest of them have been in funeral homes. But anyway, that night was the freakiest thing I have ever seen. One of the freakiest things. I remember it well. It was weird. Every cat, and there must have been 100 cats outside that house trying to get in that house. And why, I don't know. But I found out years later an interesting superstition is they said that when somebody dies, all the cats in the neighborhood know about it. And they say that when somebody also dies, you're supposed to tell the cats. Tell the cat, here's what you do. You say, John Doe, so-and-so, John Doe died. Go tell the other cats. You tell that to your cat, and he would supposedly tell the other cats. And that is an old superstition, folks. Okay. Tell the cats, tell the family cat what's happening, and he passes the news on. Let's see. I definitely think some of them are, well, let's see, could be. Thank you, Midwest. Well, you and I will be doing Comte Saint Germain. Comte is French for count. Count Saint Germain. Or is that Italian? I think it's Italian. Comte. Italian. Italiano. That's right. But we're the oldest here. I wouldn't mind a Siamese cats if I can't speak Siamese. I don't think they'll worry about that. Nah. As long as you're good to them, they'll like you. But if you ever get a cat mad at you, then you got a problem. Ask Edgar Allan Poe, he can tell you all about that. They say that Edgar Allan Poe wrote with his pet cat sitting on his shoulder. And it wasn't black, by the way. It was calico. I had a calico cat one time years ago, and I could take that cat. I was just a young boy. I could take that cat out in the woods and set him down. You know, that cat would go hunt. It would go hunt ground squirrels and bring them back to me. Dead, of course. It would actually bring its kill back while I was in there. That was a hunting cat. Kind of like a hunting hawk, but I had a hunting cat. Their cat's potential food, unfortunately. Yeah, that's, they used to talk about the Chinese places, Is that really chicken in the chicken chow mein? But anyway, whereupon his Tim perked up and said, "What? My cousin is dead. I must claim my throne," and flew away up the chimney. Oh, yeah, it's a very famous story about the king of the cats. Yep, you're supposed to tell the cats. I learned pharmacology with my cat on my lap and shoulder. There you go. Yeah. I had an orange Manx that loved to fetch. Yep, yeah, some cats will do that. They are giving me pig thyroid for hormone replacement. Then porcupine, now bovine. I hope I'm not going to turn into a cryptid. Uh-oh, Luana, you better watch out. Oh no, start talking about too busy. Keep the Siamese from eating my squirrels and songbirds. Yeah, that's the bad thing about cats. Cats have a cruel nature sometimes. They have a cruel side to them. I used to watch my cat catch rats and play with them. It would be less cruel to just go ahead and kill them. But to actually play with them like that, it's not good. Cats are very strange, mystical animals. I like them though. I love them because of their mysterious thing about them. I'm more of a dog person, but I like cats too. I'm an animal person. I like all animals. Okay, I've had parakeets and stuff. I like all animals, but cats do have that side to them. They have a cruel kind of side to them. Some of them. But anyway, more about Poe's life. Poe was interesting. I may do a show on him one night. I love Poe. And of course, as before I have done a lot of his works I have reciting a lot of his poetry. And Poe is one of my favorites. Do this with the low 'tis a gala night within the lonesome latter years, an angel throng me wing bedight and veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theatre to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Mimes in the form of God on high mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly, mere puppets they who come and go, at the biddings of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings in visible woe. That motley drama, oh be sure it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased for evermore by a crowd that sees it not. From a circle that returneth into the selfsame spot, and much of madness and more of sin and horror, the soul of the plot. But lo, amid the mimic rout, see a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that rises from out the scenic solitude. It rives in mortal pangs, and the mimes become its food, and seraphs sob at vermin fangs. In human gore imbued, out are the lights, out all, and over each quivering form the curtain of funeral pall comes down with the rush of a storm, and the angels all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy man, and its hero is the conqueror worm. A man could do it. Fantastic. Fantastic. Cats are more like a sibling by marriage. You just asking a cat. Well, cat, you don't own a cat, okay? That's just the way that goes. Cats own you. That's the way they operate, okay? You are the pet of the cat, not the other way around. That's just the way they go. But anyway, so I'll give you a little poetry tonight and do a little poe for you. Uh, your accent sounds British when you recite poetry. Yeah, well, that's my poetic voice. Okay. Let's see, I got three on me. I'm on by Gus. Gus is keeping you. You're a kept woman there, Maureen. Actually, definitely. Step siblings. Annabelle Lee is my favorite of Poe's work. Oh yeah, did you know that was his last poem? They actually published that after he died, so it's thought that Annabelle Lee was his very last poem. He was a very tragic individual. Absolutely, he was just looking for love in all the wrong places, as that song goes. I'm afraid. And a lovely black cat named Soldier who acted more like a dog. I have cats. I guess that cat Ghost is that way today. He follows me around the yard. But I had a black cat, the black cat I used to have. But actually, when I would walk my dog, he would go with us and follow us and come right back with us. He was a walk just like a dog, but you don't put cats on a leash. Oh yeah, William, my ex had a Siamese from Okinawa. She creeped me out opening doors. She got mad because I took her outside of the bed when we married, and I wouldn't wake up with staring in the eyes. Cats can get freaky on you sometimes. Katie says he doesn't love to hear you tell stories. Well, thank you. I have a lot of them stuck up here. Okay. Thank you, Dennis. This is a blessing. Okay. Well, I'm sure he is. He's a good little guy. I like Gus. Gus is cool. You need to get him some sunglasses. He would wear those kids. They'd really good. My grandson's cat name. They used a groom, a 27-pound Maine Coon cat, huh? Well, you can put some cats on a leash. Some cats you cannot, evidently. But you have to train them from kittenhood. They will wear a leash if you train them the right way. But you can't just walk up to a cat and put a leash on a usual cat. They won't like that, and I don't blame them in that respect. But anyway, but that's the thing about this. What do you think? Do you think there is such a thing as a conjured cryptid? You think cryptids can be conjured up? Certain ones. What do you think about that? I'd like to get your feedback on him. I'll show my artwork again. I'm very proud of that. There you go. That will definitely go in a frame. I'm looking for a frame right now for that. That hat looks familiar. Let's see, what's this? Watch our cat eat mushrooms on the lawn and trip black out. Oh, God. Whoa. Whenever a cat eats grass, dogs too, they've probably got a gastric problem going on. They got an upset stomach or they're not feeling good. They will eat grass. And unfortunately, sometimes I was very careful about toadstools and stuff that come up in my yard so my dog wouldn't get them. I would actually get those out before he had a chance to ever taste them. Yes, cryptids can be conjured up. Anything is possible, growing our conscience. Absolutely. I think that may be what we're dealing with sometimes, and I think a lot of cryptid researchers need to recognize that could be another possibility in a lot of other things. Of course, not just all of them, of course, but a few, definitely. You know. John Foreman says, I think conjuring is an ancient art. It makes sense to conjure either a straight up cryptid or a spirit or something that becomes a cryptid. Oh yeah, this is transmortification. That's what it is. Ravens creeping me out. There's a huge one right here on the bayou. I like ravens. They're okay. Well, there's supposed to be sometimes portents of evil too. But I always wanted a crow, a pet crow. I would name him Edgar Allan Crow. Yeah, I think the one on the Barry Island off Georgia was conjured by the natives that originally lived there. There was a freshwater spring. It was an important place for natives and colonists. That's a possibility. Ancient magic, did a lot of stuff like that. They're very much like the Jaguar men I was talking about earlier. They supposedly believe so much that they are those animals that they actually become those animals. That's interesting to think about. That's sort of like your skinwalker, in a way. Nutria's on the bayou too. Oh yeah, Nutria's, yeah. Yeah. Edgar Allan Crow is a good name. Yep. This raven was extremely big, very big. Oh, well, that's interesting. It may not be a real raven, it just might look like one. Everything in this world, my friends, is not often what it appears to be sometimes. And that's why we need to look at the origin of things and try to understand exactly what it is we're seeing. Like I said on my seminar the other night, look at the hatred, where it's coming from and where it's going. And it tells you a lot of what's really happening. Okay? And that's what you got to look at. You got to connect the dots and look at the patterns. And it tells you everything. As a investigative field researcher my whole life, I've looked for those patterns. I've trained myself to find those patterns and know that they're true patterns and not just what I'm thinking. Okay, they've got to be true patterns, and that's how you connect the dots. And you got to go a series of events to connect those dots. If you've ever played one of those games connecting the dots to make a picture, you can't slip out of that. You got to stay on it the right way, or you won't get the right picture. That's what you got to look at. In other words, you're always looking for the pieces of the puzzle, and you got to fit them in right. You can't make them fit; they've got to fit right. Okay, that's just the way that goes. Growing Gone says, I have a rabbit and crows following me around, keeping me in check. Oh, I wrote a story once about a guy that he was he had sort of some stuff going on. And wherever he went, he noticed that the crows were always around. And he wondered if maybe someone was watching him. So, Girl in a Gong, maybe someone is watching you through the crows. The crows supposedly, here's the interesting thing, witches are supposed to send out crows and ravens to watch and be their spies for them and come back and tell them things. And that's how they had eyes everywhere, watching. The cats were supposed to do this as well. So they communicate with the animals that work for them. Witches, these dark witches do. That's one way they get their information, find out things. What about heart? You have the perfect voice to recite Poe. And so, well, thank you, Luana. I'll have to do you some more sometime. I love Poe, definitely. Poe and H.P. Lovecraft are two of my favorites, along with H.G. Wells and Bram Stoker. Matter of fact, I talked with Bram Stoker's nephew, great nephew today, Dacra Stoker, and he's very nice. I might get him on the show one night, definitely. He was a very nice guy. So it was really interesting to talk with Bram Stoker's very great nephew. I think you did that, didn't you, Earl? Didn't you have him on your show one time? I think that's the way that went. Do you think conjured animals could protect springs? They are considered sacred in some beliefs. I think, let me say this, and Jessica and I were talking about this on her show too the other day. And if you haven't seen it, you might want to check that show out. It was fantastic. I've got it on my playlist. All these things are always on my playlist. Go to my playlist on my channel and you'll find them. But anyway, the interesting thing about this is the fact that we believe that a lot of these Native Americans conjured up cryptids as guardians to protect the land and sacred areas. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that happens a lot. And I think some of these things that people are seeing, that may be what's going on with that. I'm heard if you are seen with a dead crow raven by others that they'll peg you for the killer and harass you for years. Yeah, I've heard it. Crows, are very, very intelligent animals. Absolutely. I seen one the other day. I was watching a film on one, and it was a bottle of water, and he couldn't reach the water, and he was putting pebbles in it till the water level come up so he could drink it. That's smart, folks. That's pretty good. Yeah. And the interesting thing about if you could ever find a crow's nest, and when I was a boy, I was always looking for a crow's nest because they say you can find jewelry in it. Crows steal stuff. You know, they steal shiny stuff. They love shiny stuff. And I've always heard if you could find one, you could find jewelry, rings, and stuff like that. But I never did find one. Sometimes an owl will warn of a death. I experienced it. There's an old superstition. If you hear a night owl, a night owl hooting outside your window for 7 nights in a row, you're going to meet your maker. That comes from that very famous song "Wildfire." Remember that? There's been a hoot owl howling by my window now for 6 nights in a row. One more night, and that would have been it. Uh, that's the way the lyrics of that song go. And that is an old superstition. You hear a hoot owl 7 nights in a row. That's it for you. John, friends, got to roll their eyes, but y'all be safe. Be good out there, John, and be careful. Good to have you here, man. We're gonna hope a lop-eared support rabbit, and I named Dillinger because he has shifty eyes. I had a rabbit when I was a kid. One time I had a rabbit, yeah, big white rabbit. I should have named him Harvey. I forgot what I named him. I should have named him Harvey. But anyway, animals exist with us, okay, and they are part of our nature and our environment. Sometimes we don't see them: bats, rats, dogs, cats, whatever they may be. Hawks. I have a lot of hawks around here. Owls. I've seen a lot of that. I've had some freaky stuff happen with owls during some of my investigations. I'll have to talk about that one night. Owls are very interesting animals. I like owls. And of course, you know, they are the representation, the symbol of the goddess Athena, the goddess of wisdom. That's why the owls, you know, the wear the glasses and live in the library owls. Uh, anyway, that's why they get tagged with being smart. Okay, Roger's got a lot of rings on there. Yeah. Got a lot of owls. Cats know if you like them or not. All animals do. I mean, animals are very. We got to remember this, okay? Because animals do not communicate with words like we do, they still can communicate, and they are very. They have a more upper sensitivity than we do. Okay, they have a more Uber type of a thing going on than we do. They are more sensitive to their environment and to people around them. My dog was very sensitive that way. That's why I used to take him on investigations with me. Like I said, they're very sensitive. Watch them, pay close attention to them, communicate with them as much as you possibly can. They will tell you things you never thought possible. My sister had two rabbits, one nipped the other one on the ear and pierced it, so she gave the bunny an earring in the hole. But they used to put cat earrings in cats' ears too, you know. And Pyewacket, one of the most famous witch cats, supposedly had a gold earring in his left ear. I have burying owls in my yard in Florida. My man calls them my attack owls. Oh, he must not like them. They must not like him. I like owls, but I pay attention to their sending vibes. Yeah, owls are good, but you know, owls can be so quiet and mysterious too, very ghost-like. I've seen them at night in the trees and the way they do, and you know, a lot of owls do not hoot. They have a different kind of a call. They don't actually, you know, the who kind of a call, but it's interesting. Owls are very interesting animals to me. Let's see, John Fortman. I watched a video on YouTube about ravens. They actually tell each other things about people and will harness or harass ones they don't like. Oh yeah, my German Shepherd was so smart, he was amazing. Yeah, animals are much smarter than, and that's the stupid part of being human. We ignore these animals when we don't need to. We need to watch them and understand from them and listen to them and communicate with them. even if you can't speak words with them, you know. But like I said on my seminar the other night, be very, very careful of anything that tries to communicate or form an established communication connection with you through your mind. Be very wary of that because that is a spiritual being, and it could not be a good thing that you establish communication with something like that. Okay, be very, very careful. If that happens, contact me. Okay, they get protected with babies in the burrow. I've seen dogs protect babies better than the moms do in a way. Some of them will do that. They can babysit better than the mothers can. They get protected with babies. Yeah. Some people think Mothman was a supernatural owl. Well, there are a lot of stories of an owl man, especially in England. I've studied a lot about that. It's very, very similar to Mothman. And I've often wondered if the Mothman they saw that night in Point Pleasant might have been an owl man instead. I've often wondered about that, and that would explain Mothman as being sort of a conjured type thing. But I have actually seen a coven of witches who claim that they have turned Mothman loose in Illinois at the LaGuardia Airport. That they are responsible for that. That they actually conjured Mothman up. I think a lot of these cryptids, very much like the Jersey Devil and some of these others, can be the actual product of conjuration. It's funny that their last name is Moth, not Owl. It may have originally seemed more like Mothling. If you look at an owl and a moth, you could see how there could be a misidentification in that if something that big, you know what I'm saying, unusual looking. But I have always thought Mothman was something somebody conjured up somehow or another, something like that. I have redbirds and blue jays everywhere I go. They are kamikaze diving and dipping down in front of my moving car. Some of them, especially if you get around their nest. I've seen this in my own eyes. I've actually seen crows attack and run off hawks and eagles. They're mean. They can get mean. And I mean, the eagles and hawks will run from them too. They will get out of here away from them because you get the crows on your case, you got a problem. Yeah, the O'Hare Airport. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said LaGuardia. O'Hare Airport. Yeah. Uh, that's some weird stuff going on there, definitely. But they claim that they conjured this up through witchcraft. Wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. So the name wasn't coined by an eyewitness at all. If something is conjured up, how long does it last in this dimension? That depends. I think a lot depends on what kind of conjuration was done. Let me say this when it comes to conjuring, a lone person or maybe a small group, like two or three people that conjure up something, will not be as strong as a whole coven of people. That's why they form these covens. The more there are, the more power increases for them. You understand how that works? The bigger the group, the more power, the stronger the power and belief system going on in that. But if there's only one or two or three, it's not as powerful. So therefore, it might not last as long as that by full blown coven. Okay, because the coven raises the power level. Yeah, I know, but it called it on, so that was what everyone called it later. It depends on power source. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, what they're hooking into, and I've said this before, when you do dark magic, you're doing the dark arts, you're hooked in, directly plugged into demonic power. Okay. And it just depends on how you assimilate that power sometimes. I love that song. Okay. Okay. Got any more questions? Any more observations? But that's our show tonight on the big black cats and witch cats. Watch out for those witch cats. They might be more dangerous than the big black cats. But I have actually I don't want to get into that tonight. That's for another time. But I have actually seen demons take the form of animals. It can be done. They can do it. And I'm sure it won't stop at any animal. They can take on the form of most any animal. Um, they have a distinct connection with insects. They can manipulate insect swarms. They can do a lot of things. I've seen them take on the form of children. They can even take on the forms of religious figures. They can look like Jesus or angels or Mary. They can do that, folks. Nothing is off the board with the demonic. That's why I warn people so much. People say, "Oh, Dennis, you're hung up on demons, too much." I'm not. Believe me, I do not like demons at all. But you got to play that card. That card's on this table of the game of life, folks, and you can't ignore it. And they are into so much. They have assimilated so much into our society, and in so many different ways. This is astounding. And like I said, and I've had people come to me and say, "Dennis, you need to write a book." I am writing a book on it, but you need to write more books on the demonic. I said, "Well, where do I begin? I would never live long enough to write the books it would take to even begin to scratch the surface of this subject." That's how deep it goes. But nothing is off the board. Nothing can be counted out when it comes to the demonic. That's just the way they roll. I'll never met a cat I didn't like. Cats are good. Yeah, they're cool. They can be cool. Thank you, Annie Venom. I'm glad you're all here tonight. And like I said, um, I will be mailing the stuff out this week to those that are got stuff coming. And if you join and become a member, now listen out there, you members that are actual shadow hunters there, you're going to get something too, okay? Oh, yeah, you get swag too, okay, just for being a member. All right. So there you go. You got some stuff coming too. And make sure that if you decide you want to purchase a necklace, like I say, they're going quick. You might want to, if you think about getting one, do it. Drop me a line, send me an email, DennisWCarroll@gmail.com with your address. I'll send you my address. You can send your order in to it. We'll get rolling on it and see where we go from there. Linda says, signing off. Take care. All great show. Thank you, Linda. Good to have you here. Orange tabbies are feisty, Sharon says. Philip says, been stalked by a bobcat while deer hunting. I did have to shoot it because it was following me and I couldn't tell what's going to say. Sometimes you do not know, Philip, whether these animals have rabies or what's going on with that. You never know. And you hate to do something like that, but if it becomes a necessity, it has to be done. I can understand with that, definitely. Like and comment and feed the algorithm. Thank you for reminding me of that, Coco. And I want to appreciate you all signing in here with me tonight and talking about the big phantom felines and witch cats. And next Wednesday night, I'm hoping we got this planned out. Next Wednesday night, it's going to be a real dark one, okay, folks? And we're going to be talking about satanic and vampire cults, okay? And I'm going to have a special guest on. Red Pill Preacher is going to be on here. He is a very, very well versed in the cults, especially the satanic cults. And we're going to be talking about that hopefully next Wednesday when we get that set up. Thank you, John. Let me put that up. Yes, also send me your true paranormal experiences so that I might be able to read them on the road less traveled. Absolutely, Gerald, and I want your experiences, your observations, and all that. Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting night, Wednesday night, and don't forget Monday night, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be on the road less traveled. We'll be waiting for you on the road less traveled, okay? And And so until we get together again, my friends, and and all, be careful out there. Be safe. Keep an eye on your six and your head on a swivel. Okay, that's the way to go. And watch out for those phantom black cats. You never know when they may pop up. But I appreciate you all being here tonight. I want to thank you all individually. I wish I could, but you know who you are, and you know that you have my thanks from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate your support and the stickers you've given me and all that has meant a lot to me. Okay, it really means a lot, and I really, really do appreciate it. And your support keeps me going, financially wise and spiritually too. Okay, I want you to know that you're a very integral, important part of these podcasts. They're all about you. Okay, it's all about you. So don't forget that. And I appreciate you all being here tonight. And until we get together again, remember, Nos Adventus Quartus, we adventure forth. And I want to tell you this: I will not let you go into the unknown alone. And until we meet again, my friends, take care and vaya con Dios.